Yes, Prof. Aziz, please.
Prof. Murteza, you are ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, let me just start. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. First of all, let's welcome our Professor Murteza, the Director Murteza BEDIR, the Director of or the Chairman of ISAM, Turkey. Under the Turkiye DIYANET Foundation. They call it the Center for Islamic Studies, Istanbul. We would like to welcome our Professor Murteza to our 31st ISTAC World Professorial Lecture. It is a very great honor to have Professor Murteza with us here today. As I mentioned, this is the number 31 professorial lecture. We started it 2.5 years ago, and today we are organizing number 31, inviting Professor Murteza. For the audience here, this ISTAC World Professorial Lecture aims at providing a platform to leaders, ambassadors, parliamentarians, professors, doctors, NGO leaders, whether local or international, to provide their views and ideas and share their experiences and ideas on very relevant and important issues and challenges facing the Islamic Ummah and facing also the world at large. So this professorial lecture in the last 2.5 years invited Prime Minister of Japan, invited many ambassadors, invited many professors and academicians and philosophers, and invited many researchers from Malaysia, from the region, and internationally. Today, alhamdulillah, we are very grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Professor Murteza is with us here to deliver his professorial lecture on the development of Islamic education in modern era. And as you are all aware, brothers and sisters, this ummah is really in need for an integrated Islamic model of education that can really nurture the leaders of today and tomorrow, inshallah. With this introduction, I pass the mic to Dr. Assistant Professor Dr. NURUL to moderate the session. Go ahead, Dr. NURUL.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor ABDELAZIZ, our Dean of ISTAC-IIUM. Welcome, Professor Dr. Murteza BEDIR, and we thank you for accepting our invitation to give a lecture on the development of Islamic education in modern era, navigating integrated models. So today, I welcome you again, all the participants online, to the ISTAC World Professorial Lecture. And I am honored to serve as your moderator today. And we're privileged to have with us our esteemed speaker, Professor Murteza BEDIR, who is the chairman of Turkiye DIYANET Foundation Center for Islamic Studies, ISAM, at Istanbul, Turkey. And he is a professor whose profound contributions to Islamic law and extensive academic experience will undoubtedly enrich our session for today. And he is also a distinguished academic specializing in Islamic jurisprudence, and he earned his PhD from the University of Manchester, focusing on the early development of Hanafi Usul Fiqh. And he is also he holds a master's degree from the University of London, SOAS, and a bachelor degree from Marmara University. So you see, he has a double degree. So mashallah, Professor BEDIR has held significant academic positions, including professor at Istanbul University and dean of the Faculty of Theology. And he has supervised numerous theses and authored several influential publications. And today's session will delve into the development of Islamic education, as I said, in the modern era, navigating integrated models. and he will be providing us with deep insights and fostering meaningful discussions. Without further ado, the floor is your Professor MURTEZA BEDIR.
Thank you, Professor ABDELAZIZ. Thank you, Dr. NURUL. Thank you all. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. It is honor for me to be with you. I begin by thanking Professor ABDELAZIZ and
Prof. MURTEZA, can you hear Prof. MURTEZA?
Yes, I can hear you.
What about the others? You hear Prof?
I think it's not that clear.
It's not really clear, Prof. MURTEZA. Maybe you come close to the mic, maybe.
Oh, it's not. How about now? Is it working now? Can you
We
hear
can
me?
hear you.
We cannot really hear much.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Let me then take this microphone out. Maybe it's the other way is better, huh? How about now? Are you?
A little bit better.
Better? Yeah. All right. All right. Thank you, Professor ABDELAZIZ. Thank you, people in ISTAC, for inviting me and giving me a chance to speak with you in this time. I'm not expert on Islamic education, by the way. My expertise on Islamic law and jurisprudence, but of course, like any expert on Islam, I believe should be concerned with and have a say about integrated Islamic education. How about now? Do you hear me well? Yeah.
It's so much better. Yeah.
Okay. To speak about Islamic and education in the modern era, it is better to look at various trends in the modern Islamic education. First of all, one of the perhaps the first thing which we should focus on, how Islamic knowledge before modernity, changed in the modern period by introducing new idea of the knowledge and new idea of educational institutions. I know better Ottoman experience, so I will try to go through this modern Muslim transformations in Islamic education through Ottoman case, through Ottoman examples, which I know better. That's why, and try to refer other experiences if needed, and if I have an idea about it. So, as you all know, around the beginning of the 19th century, Ottoman Caliphate decided to make radical changes in the governmental policies, in the state structuring, as well as the whole systems of justice, education, etc., political institutions, everything gone a radical change starting with the beginning of the 19th century, but mostly the outcomes of these policies, plans on reform being started after 1839 Tanzimat reforms, as you all know. Tanzimat reforms focused on reforming the whole state structure, including education. the decision taken in 1840 by this reform group in the Ottoman Empire to establish a new venue for the schools, one which is called Mektep, whereas before that, Abdul Khalik says that he cannot hear. Is there anyone else having problem with voice?
Anyone else can respond, please? We can hear, but it's a little bit far. Maybe
I think
for others.
the voice still far, Prof. Murteza. I'm not sure whether others they can increase the volume of their speakers, then they can listen more. But for me, it looks like not really high.
I will sit here and change my position and sit here if I can. So how about now?
What about our other people? Can you hear Prof. Murteza clearly?
Now it's so much better, Prof.
Is it so much better, yeah?
Yeah, when you come near, it's better.
Şurayı bir düzeltebilir misin? O niye kapandı? Ses kapandı mı? Görüntü kapandı. Okay, how about now? Do you think it's better?
Yeah, better.
All right, okay. In opening of a new venue for the schools in 1840s in the Ottoman Empire created a dual knowledge system, a dual educational system up until the end of the Ottoman state in around 1922 when the new Republican Turkey is established. So this problem, dual educational system, was based on two ideas of knowledge. One on the one hand, the Islamic concept of knowledge, and through classical traditional madrasas, this concept of knowledge was formalized and institutionalized, and a new one appeared in around 1840s, and through the Ottoman region, the whole Ottoman cities start establishing new schools and open the way for a new knowledge, including starting from the primary school, secondary, high school, and Darul Funun, the university, and a new venue of university, sort of course, on the model of the French and then German, Italian, European model, was adopted in educational system, and the traditional educational system lived together for a while, up around 80 years, and then suddenly, when the Turkish republics established, the new Turkish Republic established, they closed they finalized the traditional concept of knowledge and the traditional institutions in 1924. And after that, in Turkey, we have a secular educational system which opened a space
for Islamic schools and higher Islamic institutions. Actually, one higher Islamic educational institution and a few schools with us next to the mainstream secular education in Turkey. In Turkey, what I mean is, you know, starting with the 1840s, a new idea of knowledge introduced into Islamic world in the Ottoman region, and then new institutions start establishing themselves, and at the end, finally having the whole having the monopoly on educational system in the Turkish Republic, relegating or leaving aside traditional Islamic educational, the concept of Islamic education, and also through, of course, abolishing the institutional structures that are there for 1,000 years in Anatolia, in the Ottoman regions, the traditional base of the knowledge and the education. These institutions were abolished in 1924, and the only remaining institution for knowledge became this new schools called at that time Mektep, which meant the European, especially continental European idea of university and the education became the only concept and that are allowed in these institutions, and religion and the religious studies increasingly reduced into certain area of that is called religious in the narrowest sense, that is issues between people, between the person and his Lord, between God and the person. That area is defined as something religious, and then the rest of the areas, the sphere of knowledge, are considered were considered as something outside religious, that is secular. At that time, we call it laik. So this transformation from a wholly, totally Islamic concept knowledge to a new concept of knowledge that are leaving the mainstream, the main centers of the knowledge to non-religious, and leaving only a small space for religion, sort of understanding of educational idea became, you know, in Turkish case, the standard for a while. Here, of course, what I am trying to draw your attention is this fact that, you know, there are two concepts of knowledge here. One is based on the traditional Islamic, the Islamic concept of knowledge, that existed in the Islamic civilization throughout the history, of course, with changes in the history, but mainly there is this, we can call it Islamic concept of knowledge and their institutions. Whereas in the modern period, with the oncoming of the Tanzimat reforms and ending with the Republican reforms, the whole idea of the concept of knowledge turned into a concept of knowledge based on the idea of European conceptions, European idea of knowledge, and the new universities, probably in your case, it's not different because as far as I know, other parts of Islamic world also gone through the same changes. Here, there are two concepts of knowledge. One is based on the idea that is not separating Islamic with any other concept of knowledge, whereas here it is clearly a positivistic idea prevailed in this new concept, and the knowledge is cut. It is Islamic concepts and ideas. It is linked with the Islamic concepts and ideas are broken tamamen totally. Here, of course, what the response of the Ottoman and the Turkish religious circles, Turkish ulama, to that development, this development is, of course, was created other, tensions here in Turkey. But even in Turkey, we between 1924 to up to 1950s or 60s, Islamic education was the space of Islamic education so limited that even we can claim that there was nothing in fact in terms of Islamic education in this period. But of course, the Muslim people of Turkey did not accept that kind of approach, and they start pushing government. And of course, with the coming of the democratization in 1950s, Islamic education again accepted as part of Turkish higher and the secondary educational system. Imam Hatip schools and the Ilahiyat faculties were introduced again. First of all, of course, Ilahiyat faculty, the only Ilahiyat faculty established in 1949 in Ankara University, but starting with 1959, higher institutes of Islamic studies started to open, and up until 1982 there were around 11 or 12 higher Islamic institutes of education, Islamic studies, and also some Imam Hatip schools in this period. But up until 1980s, still these ups and downs in the in Turkish Islamic educational system, and the Islam being part of Turkish educational system became a problem. And although we have higher institutes of Islamic studies, still they were not very academic. They were only trying to preserve what remains from the history, what remained from the Islamic tradition. They were trying to preserve it. There was no a real production of Islamic knowledge in this period. And finally, starting with 1980s, of course, all these higher Islamic institutes transformed into faculties and became part of the universities, and a real beginning of higher Islamic education in Turkey, I believe, has started in 1982. Before that, there were some ups and downs and some trials, but they were very exceptional and very minimal in the very minimal level. But the real beginning, I think, started in 1982 with the coup d'etat in 1980 coup d'etat, re-establishing Turkish educational system, including higher educational system. They transformed and opened new faculties in various main universities in Turkey, higher Islamic faculties. And the real beginning of Islamic education and the production of Islamic knowledge in terms of producing Islamic knowledge began here with the 1982 reforms. But still, the dichotomy that we know from the onslaught of these modernist reforms, modern educational reforms back in the 19th century, still, these new university platforms were platforms for the positivistic idea of knowledge was very prevalent in the universities. And when Islamic studies as faculties allowed in the universities, they still had to face this concept of knowledge. Although they are based on the traditional Islamic ideas in terms of knowledge, but still they had to face with this challenge of positivistic idea of the university. And this, of course, that in the traditional Islamic educational system, there was no such division, a clear-cut division between Islam and the education, or the Islamic education and the secular education. But in the modern period, higher Islamic institutes or faculties of Islamic studies, they became part and parcel of one of the compartments of the university. It wasn't, the religion, the Islamic tradition was not part of the whole system of university. It was only part of only one compartment of the whole university system. And the remaining compartments of the remaining compartments of the university, they were deemed, or they were considered outside Islamic tradition. So there is this clear division still existing in the universities, Islamic studies being having a special space in the university, but it is only a compartment, as it has nothing to do with the whole university. And still this challenge exists in the Islamic educational system, in the whole higher educational system in Turkey. What I mean is, still we are having difficulty with the we are still in the face of this challenge of the positivistic concept of university, positivistic concept of modern university, having only a limited space for Islam and religious studies. So that kind of challenge still we are facing it, and we still couldn't manage to, as you tried in international universities in Malaysia and in other places, we still don't have that kind of, you know, bringing together the university this concept of modern concept of knowledge vis-a-vis with the concept of Islamic tradition and the knowledge of Islamic tradition. And still we are far from it, but we are trying to bridge the gap between Islamic studies on the one hand, called ilahiyat faculties, Islamic studies on the one hand, and the remaining part of the university subjects. So there's still this problem there, but we are trying to bridge this gap by civil, waqf, and other means of supporting Islamic traditional education being part in order to be part of this and to face and to bridge to bring together perhaps to cooperate with the modern concept of knowledge and with the modern institutions of university. Of course, ilahiyat faculties in Turkey started with from a limited space, but in the last 42 years, now they are trying to enlarge their space of impact by including various subjects that are already in the universities. Like, for example, law, we have secular law faculties. There's no Islamic law in it. We have secular law faculties, no Islamic law, except some historical studies. Historically, Turkiyye is has Islamic law in its history. So only in the history of law courses we have some elements of Islamic law there, but the whole legal system, the whole law faculty is devoid of Islamic law. There's nothing in the law faculty, and also in the philosophy departments, there's no Islamic philosophy. It's only a secular philosophy. In the medicine, for example, in medical schools, there is a medical ethic course, but there's no Islamic medical ethical subject in it. So it is totally secular subjects we see. And same goes with the sociology, same goes with the psychology, any sort of humanities, social science, and the whole subjects of the universities. They are not very much interested in. They're not interested in the Islamic traditions that are or Islamic roots of their subjects. So they are purely modern European ideas of knowledge still monopolize their textbooks, their research, etc. Although there are some others, but in the ilahiyat faculties, what Turkish ilahiyat faculties did they try to establish a space that are and try to enlarge their space by entering in the fields which are not deemed, which are not is not put to them to enter in it, but say still Islamic roots of Turkish, state and society is so deep that they try to enlarge ilahiyat by making ilahiyat as a kind of university. Now ilahiyat is, since religion and Islam is not allowed to enter the rest of the university, they start to producing everything. University subjects are related in the ilahiyat faculties, so that they are trying to recreate universities within the ilahiyat field. What I mean is this, in ilahiyat faculties, we have three major departments. One is traditional Islamic subjects, including Quranic studies, Hadith studies, fiqh, law, legal studies, kalam, Islamic theology and the theological philosophy, and Islamic madahib, sects and schools, of course, and Sufi studies, very deep and rich Sufi studies, and etc. These are the traditional Islamic subjects. All are included in the ilahiyat faculty, in this one of the first major department. And the second major department is focusing on religion and the social sciences and philosophy. We have a second major department called religious sciences and the philosophy department, where we deal with psychology of religion, sociology of religion, and Islamic concept of education, or education, the pedagogical studies. We have, of course, world religions, and we have also in this department philosophy of religion, Islamic philosophy, history of philosophy in general, and the logic, department of logic in it. So in the second major department, we have this social sciences and the philosophical studies incorporated into the ilahiyat structure. And in the third department, the third major division of ilahiyat faculties is history and the Islamic fine arts department, which includes Islamic history and civilizational history, a fine arts subject, Islamic education, Islamic literature, literary studies, literature, and Islamic or religious music. This also forms a major department, history and the fine arts department, philosophy and social science and religion department, and the traditional Islamic subjects. Here in these three major divisions, of course, the ilahiyat faculty graduates, they get only one degree. They get all their subjects from all the three major departments, but there's only one degree. Only in the postgrad level and in the graduate level, they are divided into these major departments. But here, as you can see, we have in this ilahiyat platform traditional Islamic subjects, including law, and in the second major department we have all these subjects that are already taught in the university, in the so-called secular departments, sociology, psychology, education, philosophy, history of philosophy, etc. So these are also part of it, and the history and the historical studies, including fine arts, civilizational studies, and music. So all these major departments and subdivisions, you can see that ilahiyat is trying to act like a university. Why it happened this way? Because in the first place, ilahiyat faculties were not welcomed by the secular university. So the ilahiyat created its own space. That is why. So, and try to reconcile traditional Islamic knowledge with the modern knowledge that are already well established in the universities in Turkey. We have, of course, now more than 200 universities, and it is a well-established concept now that the European concept of knowledge is well established in the universities. So their ilahiyat faculties are acting like, to bridge the gap or to bring together these two concepts in Turkish example. Of course, the other examples are different. Your example is different. The Egyptian example is quite different. But in Turkish case, only through the ilahiyat faculties, we are trying to integrate Islamic knowledge based on Quran and Sunnah, of course, but the whole traditions of Islamic sciences and Islamic concepts are coming to alive in the ilahiyat faculties, and with the regaining Islamic heritage through ilahiyat faculties, we are now in a position to discuss with this possible interaction with the secular concept of knowledge and the knowledge already now in 40 years quite advanced in terms of regaining Islamic heritage. So we are trying to bring these two heritage together in order to reconcile and perhaps to recreate or reintroduce a new understanding of the modern Islamic education. So we are now in that position. So I think I will stop here. What do you think, Nurul? My time is already 40 minutes. Yeah.
No.
Okay. Okay.
No, it's okay. If you have something to say,
your questions and comments. Yeah, please.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Professor Murteza. We'll open the floor to questions first, and then we'll discuss more, inshallah. Any questions from the floor? Please, Dr. Mehmet.
Murteza Hocam, merhaba. Selamünaleyküm. Thank you very much for your kind presentation. Hocam, I would like to ask one question that you emphasized that there is a significant reconciliation between traditional Islamic education and the modern one. So this is the perspective of ilahiyat in Turkey. What about the other secular universities? How they perceive this reconciliation? And they agreed upon it, let's say, in the last almost 45 years experience in Turkey. Thank you very much, Hocam.
That's a very important question. Thank you. We always look from our perspective. The other's perspective, I think, the Turkish society is still a Muslim society. I mean, it's that although based on these educated elite, they are educated in the very strong secular understanding of knowledge, but still, you know, they are Muslims. So, of course, there are a variety of approaches exist outside ilahiyat and in the remaining university perspectives, but still the problem is they don't know how to do and what to do, and although they have in their mind you know a wish, they want to produce a Muslim or Islamic modern response, but they don't know how to do it, and they never before came across that kind of confrontation challenges. And now with the rise of Islamic conservatism and in the politics in Turkey, they are trying to also looking for reconciliation, how to do it. So because they are educated in the philosophy, in the idea of this secular concept of knowledge, but they have also their own questions, and they are not totally. I mean, I don't believe that they are not faced that kind of challenge. But the problem is they don't know how to do it, and they don't have any base in the traditional concept of knowledge, and they don't know, for example, the rationality, the richness, the intellectual depth of the Islamic tradition. They don't know, but we have to demonstrate it. We have to show it so that to draw the attention of the whole these secular elite that are still prevalent in the university system. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Prof. Murteza. There's another question from Dr. Nasir.
Nasir. Okay.
Please, Dr. Nasir.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Salam.
Prof, Jazakumullah khairan for the presentation, and I thank the presenters for this wonderful program. So I want to just add that part of this Islamic tradition is that all knowledge should be seek, because there is no knowledge that is not important in Islam. So what you have said pertaining this integration of knowledge, I know it is very vital, because with this integration of knowledge, the spirit of Islam will be revived, especially within the Western people there. So what I'm seeing is that, what I'm suggesting is that this integration, that is to see that this knowledge, all other knowledges have been integrated in Islam. So Islam has a position or has a provision for them. It should be from the grassroots. What I mean from the grassroots is from the curriculum development, from the curriculum design, all these subjects, like, for example, the basis of science in Islam, it should be included in the curriculum design. Maybe the basis of economics in Islam, it can be designed in the curriculum, and it can be developed through the curriculum. Politics also, philosophy, logic, all these can find their sources in Islam. And maybe it will be easier for maybe universities and other colleges if they design the curriculum based on these type of things, so that many Muslims will benefit and other Western people will understand that this Islam is a comprehensive way. It has a comprehensive system of their education. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. The only thing I should say is that, you know, we shouldn't use Islam at the beginning of everything, but naturally in an Islamic society, within Muslim society, everything should be naturally Islamic. That's what I could say. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor. There's one question. There's actually two questions here. To what extent the Ilahiyat programs responding to the modern challenges of environment, world conflicts, economic problems, moral problems affecting daily lives of the people?
I mean, it's very difficult to answer. I mean, we are still struggling our crisis in the last 100 years of Turkish Republic. You know, this production of knowledge in terms of Muslim intellectuals' responses to the modernity. We were far from that position for a long period. You know, in between 1924 and up to the 1980s, perhaps 1970s, that's make it less. We were trying to save our tradition. We were trying to re-establish, reclaim our tradition. And only after 1980s that, you know, Islamic intellectuals starting responding the challenge that modernity is already posing it. In fact, the Ottoman response to modernity by Tanzimat, with the introducing the Tanzimat reforms, they already started to respond these challenges, but then this sudden, you know, break with the tradition and the re-establishing Islamic studies in Turkey took, I think, 50 years now to re-establish it. And now we are, of course, we have more than, I think, 100 Ilahiyat faculties now, and we have 200 universities, and almost half of them have mostly government universities. They have Ilahiyat faculty departments, and only 10 to 20, between 10 to 20 are old and enough to ready to produce knowledge in these challenging issues. I think Ilahiyat is until now try to re-establish its link with the tradition, and now coming more and more to prepare its response to that kind of challenges already started in many fields, in bioethics, in environmental issues, in the problems that, you know, Muslim society, Muslim people, and the whole world is facing in the modern period. They already started, but still, you know, we are in the beginnings, I believe.
Thank you, Professor. There's one more question, but we'll open one more if anyone has questions from the floor.
Yeah. Is it possible, Dr. Ayn?
Sure, Dr. Ahmed.
Dr. Mustaza,
Please.
thank you very much for the very inspiring presentation. I would like to ask your opinion. Is it possible for the modern scholar today to be, to be like the scholars that existed during the time, or people like Al-Ghazali, who is a multidisciplinary, who master the theology, fiqh, and tasawwuf at the same time, and also some Muslim scholars, Al-Farabi, philosophers, scientists at the same time? Is it possible, I mean, at this age, to produce people like that? Because we are living in the age where, you know, if you are specialized in certain field, you have to speak based on your takhassus or specialization, not beyond that. With this kind of thinking, I think it is quite challenging for us to think beyond that. What is your comment? Thank you very much, Prof.
That's very important question, and that is also our challenge today in the universities. We are university professors. You know, we are we are satisfied with our compartments, and we are trying to go deep in our specialization. Of course, you know, this creates problem even for the medical, you know, students, medical professors. They are trying to be an expert of a single part of body, and they don't know anything about other parts of, except of course this undergrad study. This specialization created in the modern period a real obstacle to have this the holistic approach to knowledge and to holistic approach to world, and there are this interdisciplinary discourse is that's why is, you know, we are trying to incorporate this kind of approaches. But comparing, of course, with the Ghazali, with Farabi, with the traditional, you know, in the pre-modern world, I believe that this is the establishment of the new university created a very rich areas of knowledge, and it was inevitable for the modern student of science, to go to one of these specialized areas. But in the pre-modern period, that kind of specialization was not very much needed. It wasn't inevitable. So there still we didn't have that detailed, minute detailed fields of knowledge in that sense. But still, I believe that we are exaggerating even Ghazali's or even Sayyid Sharif's or Farabi's positions as well. You know, Farabi was produced, for example, in what areas? If you look at Farabi's contribution to the world civilization, it is mostly in the traditional philosophy field. It is not in this field. It is not. It's not that much. For example, Farabi is not a medical authority. He is not an authority on physics, but he is authority in metaphysics, in and some part of the this amali philosophy, practical philosophy. And let's take Ghazali. Ghazali is an expert on Sharia, an expert on Islamic studies. He's an authority in tasawwuf, in philosophy. But these areas are already in that years, in that centuries, they were regarded. Usually the bright scholars, they usually focused on these areas. We shouldn't exaggerate by saying that, for example, Ghazali knows mathematics, Ghazali knows physics. No, they are not authority in that. We know which areas they are in authority. Of course, they were more interdisciplinary than us, but it was the natural thing for them. But you are right. In the modern period, we also went beyond it and then created really, separate, independent compartments that are taking us from seeing even within the Islamic studies, like, for example, a hadith expert has nothing to do with the law. It has nothing to do with usul al-fiqh, has nothing to do with the Quranic studies. So that kind of departmental, spaces that we created, and then we are trying to save the limits of these departments, and it is dangerous, I believe. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Prof. Another question. In your opinion, Prof, there's one here sending to me. Sorry, what we see today is some scattered responses of Islamic scholar here and there. Can Islamic studies and Ilahiyat faculties introduce contemporary schools of thought and theories in response to postmodern thought and theories? Yeah, I mean, scientific works.
Yeah, it is very difficult, but in last week, actually no, this week on Tuesday, Professor Taha Abdurrahman was here. He's still in Turkey. He's giving some important talks, and he talked about whether we can do an original Islamic philosophy. Of course, when we hear this kind of discourse, we are very much attracted. We love. Why? Because in the last 100 years, more than 100 years now, Muslims are not contributing knowledge in the global level. So they are producing knowledge for themselves, and in a very limited area. And now, I think also they lost their self-esteem in terms of responding these issues. The Muslims, nobody is expecting us to be in a position of responding, although Muslim people are expecting us, but nobody is expecting in the sense of our history. When we look at in the last 100 years, the Muslim intellectuals are not responding, are not feeling that they are qualified to respond to modernity in the global level, but they are producing knowledge for Muslims and knowledge for their quarters. It is not a knowledge for the whole humanity. It's not, and I think that our great intellectuals in the history, they were not like this, and they were producing knowledge for the whole world, and their discourse is quite global, was global. And now we Muslims intellectuals in the Ilahiyat faculties, in the Islamic studies, we are very much reduced to our limited spaces now, but we cannot live as such. We cannot continue this way. I mean, we should enlarge our perspective and speak with these all the challenges that our human being is faced are also our challenges, and all the challenges that we are facing is also the humanity's challenges. They are not we are not alone in this world, so we have to produce intellectual response as well as practical responses to the issues that our humanity is facing. Here in ISAM, in the Center for Islamic Studies, we are trying to establish that kind of discourse and trying to spread this discourse among our researchers, the contributors to our projects. So, but I cannot answer you positively, that unfortunately. Yeah.
Okay, we have two more questions before we go to Dr. Mehmet. He's raising his hand, but just one more from online. He's saying that, in your opinion, Prof, do you think the lectures of Islamic studies and Ilahiyat need training in pedagogy of teaching and skills of multidisciplinary studies?
Definitely. Yes, of course. Yeah, my answer is yeah.
All right. Okay, let's go. Let's go. The floor is yours, Dr. Mehmet.
Okay, Hocam, again, you emphasize three different experiences in contemporary Muslim world, telling that in Malaysia, in Egypt, and in Turkey, there are different versions of integration processes. My question is that, have you observed in the last, let's say, 40 years, 50 years back, any dialogue, significant dialogue to enhance the relationships, share the experiences of these three distinct examples?
That's very important, but what do you think? So you know better than me. I don't know. I mean,
and I think that there is no temple of any integration.
I think Turkish side is more confident in that sense. And we are following. We are trying to incorporate English and the Arabic-speaking world. But I don't think Malaysia or the English-speaking world or the Arabic-speaking world are incorporating Turkish example. I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure about it. Probably they don't. They don't know very well. So because Turkish is not a very common language that are spoken outside, but we are producing knowledge, but we are you know we are not you know forced to produce in Arabic or English. We are happy in producing Turkish because we have our readers, we have our own audience, so we are happy with it. So we are not pushed to do it more international in that sense, although there are attempts here. But from Turkish perspective, I believe we are following. I think the Arabic world, you know, Azhar, other developments in the English and the you know South Asian and the Asian developments in this field.
Yeah, I think, you know, yeah, the Turkish education has that identity of keeping that image of the Turkish knowledge in that way. But maybe the important work should be translated, and we should share this very, what do you call it?
It is a demand.
Beneficial
There is a demand that it can be, but I don't know. I mean,
inshallah, inshallah. Okay, we open questions more, if any. Please, our students, any? Okay, we would like to thank very much Professor MURTEZA for his time and for his sharing of knowledge. And maybe we can conclude here that the education in Turkey, Ilahiyat, faculty blends traditional Islamic scholarship with modern academic methods. So it covers, you know, Quranic studies, Hadith, fiqh, and theology, and aim at producing scholars versed in both classical and contemporary issues. And these faculty emphasizes critical thinking and the application of Islamic principles to modern challenges. And while comprehensive, there's a debate on and better integrating contemporary social science to enhance relevance. With ongoing improvements, Ilahiyat faculties in Turkey can serve as a model for the Muslim world in successfully responding to the modernity within the context of their own region through a multidisciplinary approach. Thank you very much, Prof. If Prof. Aziz has some conclusion or something to add, the floor is yours, Prof. Aziz.
Yeah, Alhamdulillah. This is really very informative and great. We thank Professor MURTEZA for raising. I think he raised many important issues and questions that we have to take from here. I think the context in which he spoke about the ilahiyat and the horizon of developing and enhancing this ilahiyat to play greater roles, I think it's very important. Even though he related to the Turkiyye perspective, but I think generally in the Islamic world, we are almost having the same questions, the same issues from Tanja to Jakarta, from Washington to Moscow. We are all asking the question of how do we activate and enhance the Islamic studies, the Ilahiyat, the Sharia studies, to the extent that they become more dynamic in terms of sustainable development of the Ummah and the world, in terms of building a new civilization, building new societies that really translate the Islamic worldview into solutions. Because on the one hand, we say Islam is universal, Sharia is لكل مكان وزمان, and Sharia is an answer to most of the questions that humanity has or will have in the future. But on the other hand, we are unable. I think one of the ideas mentioned by Prof. Murteza when he said that in one of his answers, that the Ilahiyat and Islamic studies, and we are still attached to the past, attached to understanding our historical contexts, and coming out of those historical context, moving to the present and to the future. It's a big shift that every university, every educational system in the Islamic Ummah needs to take. Because if we really don't sit down, all of us from all parts of the Muslim world, and think and raise this question of what is the future of Islamic studies? What is the future of Ilahiyat and their contribution in renewal of the Ummah, in the renewal of Islamic civilization? If Ilahiyat, they remain, for example, Ilahiyat and Islamic studies and fiqh and usulul fiqh and all our ulum, if they just remain more related to the past and the history of Islamic Sharia, Islamic studies, Islamic heritage, that history, if we just imprison ourselves in that history and not detach ourselves, taking the gist of that history, the origin of that history, the substance of Islamic heritage, take it, and then from there we move to build the new ulum, the new sciences. If we ask ourselves, after all this 300 years of our decline, and or 200 years, and then the domination of the Western civilization, and now the extending of Western knowledge, interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary, artificial intelligence, all these ulum are expanding. For us, how much ilm or how many new science we introduced in our contemporary time to deal with the issues of Islamic societies and the humanity? So that's a big question. Let's say, have we introduced a new ulum of hadara? Even the ilm al-umran of Ibn Khaldun, we didn't capitalize on it. Even ilm al-umran of Ibn Khaldun, it comes to us through the West. When Rosenthal translated the Muqaddimah. So, brothers and sisters, these are very deep questions. What Brother Professor Murteza mentioned today is really very important. And I was very impressed when he mentioned that Taha Abdurrahman. Taha Abdurrahman is a very big philosopher, a very big scholar from Morocco. And he talks about tajdeed of ulumul falsafa, a new Islamic philosophy, new Islamic model of reproducing and producing knowledge based on Islamic worldview. He's a very sophisticated scholar. And he says, according to Prof. Murteza, he says we need a new philosophy. It's correct. But we don't need a reproduced philosophy that is like the past. Philosophy of Ibn Sina or Al-Farabi or Al-Kindi or even Al-Ghazali or Ibn Taymiyyah, they responded to their time. and they dealt with logic, dealt with all these questions and issues. But now we have the Islamic worldview with us, we have the Quran with us, we have all this legacy of our philosophers and our ulama, and so our job, I think, now and in the future is really to be able to do ijtihad. Really to be able to do ijtihad, to introduce the new ulum, the new sciences of istikhlaf. We are Khalifa on earth. We need to build, the West build the social science and the human science. We need to build our ulum al-ummah, ummatik, ulum al-istikhlaf, the sciences of istikhlaf, the sciences of umran, the sciences of healing the crisis of the ummah, the sciences of dealing with the psychological problem, the social problem, the soul problem, the artificial intelligence issues. So I think the ilahiyat and Islamic studies, especially the scholars, the researchers, the teachers, the postgraduate student, really need to go deep and really need to raise the right questions so that we really can develop new ulum. This ummah cannot be revived if we don't develop the ulum of revivification of the ummah. And these ulum are ulumul istikhlaf as Khalifa on earth. And that's why the starting point is we need to think of new classification of knowledge based on us as Khalifa on earth. Then we develop the ulumul istikhlaf. In the model of istikhlaf, our theology, our Islamic studies, our dirasat al-sharia, they need to address issues of civilization, issues of society, issues of the ummah, issues of international law, international relations, issues of environment, issues of technology, issues of, this is the thing that I think we need today. That's why I wanted just to summarize like this so that I complement what Professor Murteza has mentioned. It's a really beautiful lecture, and to me, it raised very important questions. Students, professors, doctors, researchers, our postgraduate student at ISTAC, at IIUM, you are in, in the lead of this ummah, and you need really to address these issues. Alhamdulillah, we have some of our students now at ISTAC working on research on istikhlaf frameworks, talking about Umran development, talking about values and artificial intelligence. That's, I think, the way forward. That's what I wanted to say, Doctor. I'm not sure whether Prof. Murteza is still with us.
Yes, I am here.
Yeah, because I don't see, okay, no problem. Oh, yeah, okay. So I think that's what I really wanted to summarize in this, at this time, but we really enjoyed having Professor with us, and I think we hoped also he could have mentioned to us some of the research projects and works done by ISAM as the Islamic Studies Research Center, so that we see how our professors, our researchers can really engage, can help there, and you also can help us here at ISTAC and IIUM. So, Prof, that's what I wanted to summarize. And I can stop at this point. I don't want to give another lecture.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Thank you for listening and commenting. I hope we will come together again, and here or there. I also want to invite you to here when you come to Turkey, to Istanbul. Please visit us here, and we can talk more. Because of time shortage, I couldn't mention about our project here, but we can do more, inshallah, in the future. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah, Dr. Ayn, you can just close our session today.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for participating today. And we wish everyone a good day. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu wa rahmatullah. This is the certificate of Professor
Thank you very much.
Murteza. We will send the real one. This is just
Thank you.
certificate, but the real one is with us here, and we will send it or we will bring it and come and see you there at in ISAM, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you.
Inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.